unapologetic, unadulterated, and uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the super fortress of intelligent Black thought. This is the BlackChannel.net radio. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And we'd like to welcome you all back to the BlackChannel.net radio, the home, the haven of intelligent Black society. Tonight's broadcast is going to be very, very short here tonight. I only have time to just basically throw out some updates. I've got a lot going on right now. We're doing the final narrations for 7 a.m. And we're going to try to get all that done here in the next 48 hours as far as final narration. And then see about doing our final mix downs and everything like that. So that is coming along. Expect some updates on that shortly, just as soon as I have things done. I don't like reporting things in progress. You all know me. I like to tell you when things are ready to roll. So doing a project like this has been a bit of a change of pace for me, since I have to, quote, give updates. I'm not used to a situation of updates. I'm used to saying, hey, it's done. But for the purposes of keeping everybody abreast of what's happening, that's what I've been doing here. Now, I have been conducting my own investigation into Ferguson, Missouri. I've been conducting an investigation into it because, you see, I think it's time for us to overthrow a government. And I think we should start with the government of Ferguson, Missouri. So I want us to get the people to rise up. And to see what is necessary to remove the mayor, the city council. Let us refer to that as overthrowing the current regime. Let's refer to it as that. The current white supremacist regime. Let's refer to it that way. How we're going to overthrow the current white supremacist government in Ferguson. Now, I checked into a few things, because this is the place that does do that. And I started checking into the laws in Ferguson. And what they have is this absolutely diabolical tongue twisting that they call an electoral law in Ferguson. And it became very clear to me that, damn, so this is why they've got such a screwed up government there that in no way resembles the population. They've got one of these gerrymandered Alice in Wonderland, George Orwell doublespeak, absolutely convoluted Rubik's Cube laws out there. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating at all. Now, for those of you who are wondering what I mean, in most of the United States, when you have an election, they usually have elections in November, so they can parallel federal elections and whatnot. But not in Ferguson. And most of Missouri there, but not in Ferguson, though. Ferguson is a different animal altogether. You see, you thought that Jim Crow and segregation and gerrymandering and all that, you thought that these were things solely isolated to the deep South, and that the further north you got further away from that kind of tampering and meddling, and you couldn't be more wrong. Now, in most of the United States, elections are held in November, but in Ferguson, the law says that elections in Ferguson are held on the first Tuesday following the first Monday in April in odd-numbered years. Let me repeat that again for when elections are held in Ferguson. In Ferguson, Missouri, elections are held on the first Tuesday following the first Monday in April in odd-numbered years. Now, for federal elections, it's the first Tuesday of November. You see how easy that is to remember? The first Tuesday of November. How many of you can even repeat what I just said off the top of my head as far as the law in Ferguson? The first Tuesday after the first Monday in April of odd-numbered years. Now, that type of puzzle of a law, that is written specifically for the purposes of reducing the numbers of people who will vote. That is specifically what that is geared towards. Specifically. It serves no other purpose. The only reason that you write such a convoluted, entangled, catacomb abyss of a law like that is because you want the fewest number of people possible to come and vote. Now, somebody in the chat room was saying they're trying to confuse people instead of saying the second Tuesday. No, no, no. It's the first Tuesday following the first Monday. So let's just say that Sunday is the first of the month. Okay? Well, your election is going to be held then. I'm sorry. No. There are instances where that may change is the problem. Like I said, you see how confusing this damn thing is. Usually it's going to work out to be the second Tuesday of the month. It's going to be the first Tuesday following the first Monday of the month. Is what it's going to work out to be. But not necessarily the second Tuesday of the month, but it'll be the first Tuesday following the first Monday of the month. So it could be the first Tuesday of the month. Then again, it could be the second Tuesday of the month. Because, for example, if the first of the month comes on Sunday, then the first Tuesday is going to be 2 days later. But if the first of the month is on a Tuesday, then we postpone until the next week. You see how that works? So you see, it could be the first Tuesday of the month if the first of the month is on Sunday or Monday in the first week of the month. But if it's after that, then it'll be the following Tuesday. So like I say, you see just how quickly that got confusing right there. When you say, so what are they saying? The second Tuesday of the month? Sometimes. But it really depends on when the first of the month is. If the first of the month is Sunday or Monday, then it will be the first Tuesday. It'll be the third day or whatever. It'll be that first week of the month. If the first of the month is Sunday or Monday. But if Tuesday or any other day later in the week is the first of the month, then election day will be the next Tuesday. So what you've got to do first is find out when the 1st of April is. Once you find out when the 1st of April is, then you will be able to determine whether Tuesday is going to be the first Tuesday or second Tuesday of the month. But first we got to find out when the 1st of the month is for that April. You got to find that out first before you can get your logistics straight. And of course, that is only in April of odd numbered years. Not every year, not even numbered years, not every 4 years, odd numbered years. So you see, the last elections in Ferguson were, the mayor was elected in 2011. I'll have to go back and check city council, although I think they were 2011 also. So the next voting year is going to be next year, 2015. Unless they hold like some type of recall election early. But even that has its own set of booby traps and confusions built into it. That's right. They went down the list to make sure that they handicapped and crippled and discouraged as many people as possible from contributing into the process. You have to understand, white supremacy does not believe in rights and democracy. White supremacy believes in control. Not in rights, not in democracy. Incandescent in the chat room was right. He says like Abbott and Costello, who's on first. Yeah, this seems like a joke. It seems like some type of, stand-up comedy routine. It's just so ridiculous, so irrational. But it's not. This is what constitutes, quote, democracy in Ferguson for black people. This is what constitutes democracy. This is what they're doing to black people in Ferguson. You see this spaghetti law that I just had to name out for you there. You have to get some help before you can even figure out when election day is. And remember, it's in April, which means that most people will not have the right to a day off work to even go vote. If their employer allows them to go vote, they have to take off time from their job to go and do that. So they are deliberately trying to make it as inconvenient as possible for the largest number of people to be able to vote. In the last elections in Ferguson, 6% of black people showed up to vote. 6%. But guess what? Only 17% of white folks showed up to vote. But that 17% of the white vote was enough to outnumber the 6% of the black vote. Black people are 2/3 of the population of Ferguson. Only 6% of black people showed up to vote in the 2011 elections. 17% of the white population showed up to vote. So you see right there, just immediately, you just knocked out 83% of the white vote. They suppressed 83% of the white vote. Immediately. Suppressed it. But they were okay with that because this is not about democracy. This is about white supremacy and control. And they are willing to knock out 80% of the white vote if it knocks out 98% of the black vote. They are willing to do that because this is not about democracy. Have you heard any of the white folk in Ferguson complaining about this law? No, they haven't. Because they know it favors them. It's going to favor business owners. It's going to favor self-employed people. And it's going to favor people who got a wink-wink relationship with their employer. Yeah, Bill, you go take some time off and go vote to keep the niggers in their place. Now, black people who tend to have to work for other people, you're at their mercy whether or not you can even get time off to go and vote in Ferguson. This is the game they are playing in Ferguson right now. This is the game they're playing. And for the next elections, if black people get highly mobilized, look for white supremacy to be out there in force. You're going to hear Republicans talking about keeping fake voters and voter fraud. They're going to be talking about that everywhere except in Ferguson in 2015. Republicans are not going to be the damn bit interested in fighting voter fraud in Ferguson in 2015. And remember, in 2008, it was white supremacists and Republicans who were responsible for most of the voter fraud in 2014 in the presidential election. They were telling you, watch the Democrats, while they had Republicans all over the place. Several of them got arrested by trying to pull off mass voter fraud. And I'm telling you that Ferguson, Missouri will be ground zero. White supremacy knows that in the 21st century, if they lose Ferguson, that is a bellwether for the future. If they lose Ferguson. Ferguson is a crucial point. Ferguson is a Shedwater moment. If they lose Ferguson, if we are able to overthrow the white supremacist government of Ferguson, Republicans, right-wingers, bigot Democrats, white supremacy will have been put on notice that black empowerment is now on the march, and we have successfully changed the national conversation from integration to black empowerment. It will be official that we have done it, that the national conversation has now changed. This will be the moment that the world and history remembers. Ferguson. That will be remembered as the moment that we turn the tide. And I'm telling you right now, they are going to pour all their resources into making sure that that does not occur. 27,000 people. Don't be surprised if Republicans try to get the population up to 80,000 people. Where are you all from? I'm from Wisconsin. Get your racist ass out of here. I'm telling you, it's coming. Just remember that this microphone informed you first. Now, you need 10% of registered voters to put a ballot initiative in Ferguson on the ballot. You need 10% of registered voters to be able to do that. That's what you need. And in Ferguson, it shouldn't be that hard to get together 10% of the black vote to be able to do that. It shouldn't be that hard. In a town of 27,000 people, 10% is 2,700. But it goes beyond just that, brothers and sisters. It is not enough to simply get 10% of the electorate to put an issue on the ballot. That is not enough. To change that date that you vote on, you need to do that too, but that's not enough. We need to know what we're up against. We need to know what we need to fight with. That's what we need to know. So I've been checking into it because, you see, I wanted to know how a white male like Knowles and the other 5 white city council people, how the hell this apartheid government is lording and ruling over black people in Ferguson. I wanted to find out how they did that. So I went looking into the campaign finance records because I wanted to find out, who is this Jay Knowles? Where did he come from? Where did he get his money from? Now, in Missouri, they have something called the Missouri Ethics Commission, and that's where, like most states of the union now, they got a commission that you report your campaign finances and all the contributions you received and who they were from and how much they were. You have to report that. But wait a minute. Remember what I told you all before, that spaghetti soup, that labyrinth, that maze, that convoluted, confusing maze of laws that caused this apartheid regime to be possible in Ferguson? It's not. It doesn't just stop at Ferguson. You see, I called the Ethics Commission of Missouri. I called the Ethics Commission, and I asked them, I said, I've been to your website, but I can't find any records on Ferguson. I'd like to find the records on campaign finance in Ferguson. And the nice young lady on the phone informed me that Ferguson is not required to submit their campaign finance records to the state ethics commission because Ferguson is a town of less than 100,000 people. So in Missouri, if your town has less than 100,000 people, you are not required to submit your campaign finance records to the state. So Ferguson, the mayor of Ferguson and the white city council, they're not required to submit that information to the state. Now, I did ask them about that, and they said you would want to call the St. Louis County courthouse is who you want to contact. You want to contact them about that. She also informed me that even if, what I found out later after calling St. Louis was that even if Ferguson were a town of 100,000 people, that Jay Knowles, the mayor of Ferguson, Jay Knowles did not electronically file his campaign finance records. He's a paper filer. He filed them on paper. He did not make them available to the internet. You see, St. Louis County does allow for you to be able to see records online, but that is only if the candidate submitted the records electronically. They give you a choice. You can submit electronically or you can submit on paper. Guess which one that Jay Knowles, the mayor of Ferguson, guess how he submitted his campaign finance records? That's right. He submitted them on paper. He did not submit them electronically. I know. I have called the state of Missouri and the St. Louis County courthouse. I've called both of them. I called both. And they both confirmed that he is a paper filer. He did not submit electronically. So you see, the state is making it easy for him to cover up. And when you go to St. Louis County, he's sitting there and making sure. He's going to make sure that he doesn't put that information out there. He is not going to make it easy to put that information out there. He's not going to make it easy for people to look up and find out what's going on. Brothers and sisters, this is how murder is accomplished. Murder is accomplished through confusion. By pointing your fingers in opposite directions and saying, go that way. That is how murder is accomplished. You want to talk about a conspiracy? I just laid out for you a conspiracy that was decades in the making, that will allow you to murder black people every single day and never be able to figure out exactly, make it extremely difficult for you to figure out exactly how in the hell you stop this. While other people are out there guessing what to do in Ferguson and groping around and trying to figure out what to do, the Black Channel is the only place that has brought you the hard evidence and told you the facts. Now, understand something. I am undeterred. I've got a couple of boots on the ground in Missouri. I got a couple of people going to a couple of places in Missouri. I want Ferguson's records. I want Jay Knowles' records, and I want the records for the rest of the white city councilmen and the black city councilmen. I want all of the campaign finance records. I want to know exactly how much money Jay Knowles raised. I want to know who gave it, and I want to know how long he's had it. I want to know how much he's got now, because I want to know how much we're going to need to beat his ass. And the rest of the city council, I want to know exactly how many and how much it is. And if we got to hold a Kickstarter for it, damn it, we'll do that. It's a town of 27,000 people. He didn't spend $1 million to get elected mayor. It's a town of 27,000 people. I will be surprised if he spent $50,000 to be elected. I'll be surprised. I will be shocked if we do. I want those records. I want those records on Jay Knoll and the rest of the city council of Ferguson. So to my people that I've contacted, I'm waiting for you to get to that for me. And for everybody else, if you live in Missouri, in Ferguson, in St. Louis County, you want to go down there and let me get the exact address for you here. For anybody who's wondering, by the way, I don't want to supersede my people who are going down there, because I definitely want y'all, and I'm going to check up on y'all. I want you all to get back with me on that, because this is very, very important. The address we were given was 12 Sunnin, S-U-N-N-E-N, 12 Sunnin, Suite 126, Maplewood, Missouri. Zip code is 63143. Now, that address isn't even on the St. Louis County website, by the way. That address is not even on the St. Louis County website. That address is not there. I just wanted to throw that in for all of you. By the way, the address that they said I needed to go to, and they say I have to go in person. Somebody has to show up in person with their driver's license to get these records. You cannot simply ask for them. You have to show up in person with your driver's license to get them. That's right. This maze, they keep dropping on you all these rules and regulations. It keeps getting deeper and deeper. They keep making it harder and harder. And this is just to find out who donated to this man and how much he raised. That's all we want to find out. Who donated and how much he raised. And take a look at all the hoops you got to jump through just to find out who donated. They wouldn't even tell you on the website where to go to find these records. You go to their website, that address I gave you is not there with the others. They've got the contact us page. Go take a look for yourselves right now if you want to. That address is not on the contact us page. They give 4 addresses. That address I just gave you is not there. 12 Sunnin, Suite 126, Maplewood, Missouri, zip code 63143. That address is not on their website. The only place you get that address is right here on the Black Channel. because they're not going to put that information out there. And that address is where Jay Knowles, the mayor of Ferguson, that is where his campaign finance records are hidden. Let me say that again. That is where Jay Knowles has hidden his campaign finance records. They are hidden at that address. You cannot say they are stored there, because if they were stored there, you would make it easy for us to get them. You'd make it like the public library. It's an address that everybody knows. That address is not even on the St. Louis County website. His information is hidden away. And they want to know who wants to see these records. That's why they want you to show up with your driver's license. They want to know who came, who took a look at it. We want to know who it is. They'll make a copy of it, and they want to see how many black folk are signing up to declare war on the government of Ferguson. That's what they want to know. And I am saying to my brothers and my sisters from around the world, and specifically in Missouri, it's time to declare war. It's time. I want 1,000 of you to show up at that damn place. And let's put them on notice. You want to take shots at us? Now we're going to take shots at you. You want to target us? Now we're going to target you. This is how the game gets played. You got intel on us? We got intel on you. Game on. You want to roll with us? Let's roll. But let me tell you, it's going to be a rough ride. It's going to be a super rough ride. We're the people who built the pyramids. You think a damn address and a couple of hoops from the state building is going to stop us from getting you? Buddy, you've been marked. You've been marked, man. We said we are coming for your seat. We coming for your ass. And we are coming for the mayor's job. We are coming for it. This is not a game or a joke. We are coming for your job and the rest of the city council. We are coming for all of your jobs. Heads will roll. Heads will roll like pool balls down the street. Heads will roll. And we're not going to walk into this guessing what we're up against. We want to know how much financial backing you got before the Koch brothers show up. We want to know how many boots we got to get on the ground. We want to know how many heads we got to get to the election poll places. We want to know not how to just knock off the mayor. I am not happy with removing just the white supremacist mayor. We must remove all white supremacists from the city council. All the white supremacists must go. Right now, we have 6 city councilmen. We have 5 confirmed white supremacists. There is 1 black city council person, and I do not know what his coon status is. Other people will have to inform us of that. But we have confirmed that we do have 5 white supremacists on the city council. All 5 must go. Not 1, not 2. We're not going for any symbolic victories. The mayor must go. The 5 white supremacists must go. They all must go. And I want to know exactly how much money you all got, because I'm targeting you. I want to know who you are. I want to know what you spent. I want to know where you got it. And we're coming for you. So, brothers and sisters, if you want to know how the game is going to be played in 2014, I just gave you the rundown. We got to get 10% of the voting population. If you want a ballot initiative, we need to do that. And I want to know how much money it's going to take to overthrow the white supremacist apartheid regime in Ferguson. And that means that we need those records from St. Louis County. We need those records on 12 Sunnin, Suite 106. I want to get those records. I'm sorry, Suite 126 rather. 12 Sunnen, Sunnen, Suite 126. And I'm going to give a shout out to the first person who brings those to me. Don't bring me no incomplete records now. I don't want no... Did you know they wouldn't even fax them to me, by the way? They wouldn't even fax them to me. They said the only way I can get them is if we actually show up in person. Nazi Germany is here. Those are Nazi German tactics. Those are communist Russia, Soviet Union tactics. We want to know all potential enemies of the state. Well, let me say this loud and clear to the white supremacist regime. I am the enemy of the state. Born, bred, and raised, I am your enemy. Let me just declare that openly now so that we both have a clear damn understanding. You are the enemy of black society, and I am the enemy of white supremacy. Period. Point blank, exclamation mark, end of discussion. Top dead center. So now everybody knows what the deal is. You didn't know I was the enemy before. I've always known you were the enemy. You didn't know I was the enemy before. Now you do. And I'm not alone. So brothers and sisters, understand we got our work cut out for us here. But I'm telling you all now that Ferguson is a watershed moment for us. Ferguson is a cannot lose moment for us because they just lost the vote in Scotland. Britain is held on to Scotland because they refuse to choose liberation. We must choose liberation in Ferguson. We must choose it. And Ferguson is a watershed moment to break the back of white supremacy. We can set a model and a template in Ferguson that will make overthrowing white supremacy the new in thing to do. Overthrowing white supremacist governments across this country will be the new in thing to do. If we can set the standard in Ferguson. If we set Ferguson as a role model for how we proceed in other white supremacist enclaves around the country, in the white supremacist enclave of New York, in Harlem, in Queens, in DC. We can do this, and the white supremacists understand how crucial Ferguson is. And I'm telling you right now, whenever the next election is held, they are going to be in Ferguson in force. You are going to see more money pouring into Ferguson than you have ever seen from white supremacist outside groups. Even though the white population is only 1/3 of the population, they are going to try to get every single white man, woman, and child to show up at those polls. And as black people, we can easily overwhelm them. Easily. This is one time that money is not going to be able to buy an election. But we got to make it clear to every black person in Ferguson, you got to be on board with this or you got to get out. You got to be on board or you got to be gone. But make no mistake about this. Ferguson is a watershed moment. Ferguson is a do or die moment. We have the ability to break the back of white supremacy in front of the world and to show that not only can we prosecute, but we can overthrow, and we can empower ourselves. We can turn the death of Michael Brown into a revolution that reignites the fires of black power and black empowerment in America. You thought it was dead and gone. Ferguson can be our moment to prove that James Baldwin was right, and the fire next time is going to burn so much brighter and so much hotter than the fire last time. This is our moment. Now, I've just given you all the information that you need. This is no time to sit on our asses. We have an opportunity and a chance to do this in a major way. I'm telling you, let's get it done. But I wanted to give you all, to everybody listening, I wanted to give you some insight into the odds we're up against in Ferguson and how they've been able to hold on to power for so long in such an incredibly unlikely situation. Now, this does not mean that black folk are off the hook. Black folk in Ferguson should have done a whole lot more to disarm this a long time ago. But let me tell you, the fact that 2/3 of the population is being held captive by 1/3 and persecuted by 1/3 of the population, that tells me that your preachers in Ferguson are a damn joke. Your black clergy in Ferguson is a damn joke. Your black schools in Ferguson are a damn joke. Your black politicians in Ferguson, for the most part, are a damn joke. Your community activists, where the hell were the community activists before now? They're a damn joke. I'm taking a look at this situation in Ferguson. For 2/3 of the population to be persecuted and dominated by 1/3, 17% of the voting public dominates 2/3 of a city. That is disgraceful. You should be embarrassed and humiliated by that. Now, this is your opportunity to get your dignity back because you lost it. This is your opportunity to get it back. This is your chance to do that. That being said, I am not discounting the absolutely diabolical machinations that have been made against black people in Ferguson. Absolutely diabolical. But this is our opportunity to turn a moment of weakness into our moment of our greatest strength. We can do this. If we galvanize this moment, we can do that. And imagine the headlines around the world. Brothers and sisters, let me tell you what black empowerment looks like. Imagine the headlines around the world. When you wake up and they show you at the top of the newspaper, they show the mayor and the 5 white city council people with the words defeated above it. Imagine that. The mayor and the 5 white city councilmen with the words defeated. The white supremacists have been defeated. And then below that, they show the black mayor and an all-black city council in Ferguson. Imagine what you will feel like in that moment. Imagine the statement that will make to the black men, women, and especially the children of not just Ferguson, Missouri, but the United States and the world. Imagine what that moment will mean. Imagine when they show the white baited mayor and the white supremacist city council, and then below that they show their replacements, all black. Imagine what that will look like. Imagine the shockwave that sends around the country at that moment. Just think about that for a moment. Imagine the shockwaves that will send. That will simply send a world quake around the planet. That will send a world quake. Because once we take Ferguson, we can move on from there. We can move on to Atlanta. We can move on to DC and get some real folk involved there. We can overthrow the white supremacist Rick Snyder in Michigan and replace the coon government of Detroit that was chosen by the Democrats. We can replace the coon government with an empowerment government. You see, white supremacy only wants empowerment when they're in charge of it. We are going to overthrow the coon white supremacist government. This is a unique opportunity in history. Everybody remembers Selma, Alabama, and the march there was a watershed moment that changed everything. The March on Washington, a watershed moment that changed everything. We only get a precious few of those moments in history, where you have an opportunity that what you do that day will change everything that comes after it. This is our moment now. But we do not make this happen. We do not accomplish this if we don't know our enemy and if we don't know his capabilities and his resources. And that is why it is imperative. Now, I only talked to them Friday, so gotta wait till Monday at the soonest. But it is imperative that we get those campaign finance records on the Ferguson government next week. It is imperative that we get that information. And I want everybody, once you get it, posted up far and wide. We need everybody everywhere. Do not come to the Black channel first. Post it yourselves first. Let's make sure that no matter what happens, no CIA, COINTELPRO, or anything is going to shut down one voice. Let's make sure that everybody everywhere knows. Let's make sure everybody everywhere knows. If you want to put it under that recall for Mike hashtag, absolutely. Let's make sure that everybody knows. For those of you not on Twitter, if you don't listen to Tariq, you don't know about the recall for Mike. But anyway, recall number 4, Mike. If you want to do that there, hey, that's cool. Let's make sure everybody knows about this. Let's make sure that everybody everywhere is involved. Let's not have it just be one black person. Not just one black person. Let's make sure that everybody knows what's going on. And get back to us on this, because understand, we have an opportunity. This generation right now. Do you all notice that it wasn't the black coon clergy that was driving events in Ferguson? Did you notice that? I wonder how many of you caught on that it wasn't the black coon clergy driving events in Ferguson. The black coon clergy had nothing to do with the Ferguson uprising, and they have nothing to do with our calls to overthrow the white supremacist government. Nothing at all. They're just sitting there now, and their white daddy masters are telling them, y'all need to get out there and do something. But you notice the white controlled coon clergy is not running this thing. They're not spearheading this effort. And that's why the conversation this time sounds so much different. For those of you in Ferguson, tell me where your clergy is demanding the removal of Jay Knowles. You should have every single black pastor in Ferguson and in St. Louis at that city council to demand his removal. To demand the removal of the police chief. To demand the removal of most of the police department. And to demand the ouster of the white apartheid regime of the city council. Where is your black clergy to give sermon after sermon to make sure that everybody is reminded every week? The black churches in Ferguson, the sermons ought to be sounding like the Black channel every day. Every day. This is happening because we're not depending on the cowards of the civil rights generation who believe that it's a mark of honor to have a white person beat their heads in and shoot them. Most black folk from the civil rights generation, they consider it to be a proud thing if they can say they got beat up by a white person. They think that's actually a mark of pride, a mark of honor. They think that's something to brag about. The average member of the civil rights generation thinks that being able to tell you about the white person who beat them up, that was a good thing. They think that that's something that they're bragging. They think that you should be happy about that. That you should be looking at them with awe and stars in your eyes because they were able to get beat up by a white person. They think that that's something to brag about to their children. I got beat up by some white supremacists today. Cosign. Thumbs up. They hear black folk like me say, I beat up 5 white supremacists today. Oh, you shouldn't be doing that there. Mr. Charlie don't like that there. Turn the other cheek now. Don't you want to make friends with them? We're supposed to convert them, make them like us. That is, the civil rights generation is the coon generation. And that's why they have tried to condition so many of you who came after them to become coons also. Because they just want to sit back and rest. Understand that. It was young black people in the streets. Age 40 and younger. It's young black people in the streets that turned this around. The coon generation, the civil rights coon generation didn't do nothing. It's young black people that demanded justice. It's young black people that are still in the streets bringing fire tonight. Young black folk did that. The coon generation could not lead you to salvation and freedom. And that's why when you see a civil rights coon generation member, you really need to tell them kiss your ass. Because they didn't do nothing for you. Ferguson, if we turn that into a success, the civil rights coon generation has nothing to do with it. And you all need to show them the disrespect that they deserve so that your children and grandchildren will not repeat their mistakes. If you show them for the shameful embarrassments that they are, your children and mine and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren and all succeeding generations will not look to their shameful, cowardly example for any type of guidance. We have to understand that part of discrediting white supremacy is going to involve discrediting the coon generation. The civil rights coon generation must be discredited because they are the foot soldiers of white supremacy who tell their own children, bow down to massa now. Don't you buck up to massa now. You watch what you say now. Don't you do that there. Don't you do that there. You sit down now. Don't you make no fuss for massa now. And that's why your clergy acts the way they do. Your clergy are supposed to be living in mud huts, living off the land. They are supposed to be revolutionaries who eat and drink and sleep the Bible and the gospel of liberation. They get a damn Cadillac and they're done. They're not leading you to salvation. They're not leading you to liberation. And they're not trying to get you there. The clergy didn't do a damn thing. The coon civil rights generation didn't do a damn thing. It's young black people with an ideology of black first. Even if they don't quite understand that that's what they're doing, that is the ideology that is causing shock waves to reverberate around the world right now. And I'm saying let's go to the next step. But you cannot win a war if you don't have intel. You need to know your enemy's capabilities, you need to know your enemy's resources, and you need to know how to overwhelm them. And the number one resource that white supremacy has in Ferguson is dollars. We got to find out how much they got so that we will know how much we need to get. By the way, what we need are the records, not just for Jay Knowles. We also need to get the records of every black person who has run in Ferguson and how much money they were able to raise. We need to get an exact, clear, definitive picture of the situation, of the landscape on the ground in Ferguson. We need to find out exactly what the picture is. That's the only way we're going to change it. That's the only way. I want you all to think that if we're able to overthrow the white supremacist government of Ferguson, Missouri, that you are able to see those young black men with their bandanas tied around their faces and the ski masks tied around their faces, wearing all black. The people saying with the shirts, "No justice, no peace." When you see them standing on the city hall steps and the courthouse steps with the black fist in the air, when you see that occur, just think about what a baseball bat slug to the gut that will be for white supremacy. You think about how that is going to instantly suck the air out of the lungs of white supremacy. Just think about that. Think about how that imagery is going to impact everybody of this generation. When the Panthers show up and you've got a government in Ferguson that is made of the people, for the people, by the people. And then we say to ourselves, well, the job is done in Ferguson, but now we've had, you've had that little, that taste of success. You have had that taste of success. And you realize that this is how you deal with white supremacist governments. You overthrow them. Once we have a taste of success in Ferguson and finish licking our chops, I mean, you sitting there licking your fingers and licking the plate, and you done licked that fork about 4 or 5 times now. Now you're going to move on and say, you know what? We ought to take this show on the road now. What the hell is happening in Oakland? What's happening in Dallas? What's going on in Atlanta and DC? What's happening in Harlem? What's really going on? You're going to be ready to take this on the road. North Carolina, South Carolina. Just had a 14-year-old black child shot by the police here in Louisiana. Terrebonne Parish. New Orleans. You think about that. When we get a taste of success in Ferguson, when you get a real, solid, actual, concrete win under your belt, and you see that all the things that all the prophets have spoken will come to pass exactly like that. Let me tell you, you're not going to go back to the gospel of failure again. The coon clergy ain't going to be able to tell you jack after something like that. You will see the coon clergy and the civil rights coon coward generation for what they are. And the conscious community. I didn't say conscious community. The conscious community. Because we used to have a conscious community. We don't have a conscious community anymore. We have a conscious community. You're not going to be looking to them for any more answers ever again. After you see that they spent 200 years telling you bow down and coon and buck dance, and all that got you was shot. Now you got some respect. Now you're walking down the street past white supremacists and you're holding your head high and they're holding their heads down. Yeah, that moment is going to be like nothing else when you're walking down the street and you're walking by the cops and the cops are holding their heads down. And black empowerment reigns from one end of the land to the other. Now that is a moment, that is a kingdom come moment you've been waiting for. But your cowardly elders are on the side of white supremacy. Because white supremacy told them to bow down and they bowed down. And now they're trying to force you to bow down for the rest of your life too. I'm telling you, don't let them do it to you. This is your moment. This is our time. Ferguson can be a world changer. Not just a game changer, but a world changer. If we overthrow the white supremacist government in Ferguson, you're going to wake up the next day and nothing will be the same. Barack Obama will be exposed for the fraud that he is. Eric Holder will be exposed for the fraud that he is. The national conversation will change forever. It will change forever. Because we will have a working model of how you destroy white supremacist governments in America. It will change the national conversation forever. Nicki Minaj will not be on the front page. Tyler Perry, moist Negroes having bastard babies will not be on the front page. Where Jay-Z and Beyonce were going to eat breakfast will not be on the front page. Black empowerment will be on the front page. First, you have control of the government, and that will make it imperative on you that you must have control of the economy. You will see white supremacy on the run for the first time in your lives. And now you will realize that you must, not you can, not you should, you must depend on each other. Because we're all we got. And we will show how we're supposed to support each other in the real world. I know it's just a start, and I get that. But brothers and sisters, you gotta start somewhere. Gotta start somewhere. Why not here? Ferguson, Missouri can be the beginning of the last stand for white supremacy. That's what I envision. And for us to be able to drive the wooden stake in their hearts, that's what we're here for. That's what you were born for. I'm telling you right now, don't just get mad. Don't just get even. Get empowered. Once you overthrow the city council, you get rid of the prosecutor. You get rid of the district attorney. And you replace them with a black district attorney who is interested in enforcing justice. And we will make it where if the police blink at a black person the wrong way, if the cops even look like they breathe in your direction the wrong way, he's going to jail. He's going in cuffs. If the police try to rough you up, you can defend yourself and nobody is going to cover them. That the district attorney will first ask, wait a minute, cop, what did you do wrong first? I didn't do nothing wrong. I don't believe that. Let's find out what you did wrong first. Let's find that out first. That's what overthrowing a government looks like, brothers and sisters. We got 36 hours before it's time for us to move on this. Well, what are you waiting for? And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the BlackChannel.net radio. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, brothers and sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.